Apparently in this chapter, a lot of people are saying a JJK part 2 is all but confirmed because of a couple things that took place. I'm gonna look at it and I'm gonna see if I agree or if I disagree. Me personally, for what I've been seeing, I think a lot of people are just kind of overthink things just a little bit. In this chapter, we got some nice wrap-ups. In the beginning, we got Megumi at Tsumiki's grave with Shoko, who I didn't even realize it was Shoko until she was smoking, because her with the ponytail, I mean, I really couldn't even tell the difference. Nice to show that we actually got some type of, I guess, grievance for Tsumiki and with Megumi. She is one of the more pure-hearted characters in the series, so it's kind of fitting that she's one of the few that gets shown like a grave of some sort. Also got a nice little detail of Shoko wishing she would have did this for Geto's body, which is kind of odd that they never did, but we know why they preserved it in the first place and why it was taken. And stuff like this is really rare to see because considering JJK has cursed energy, which is developed around negative energy, it always just kind of makes me wonder how things like cemeteries and funerals where sorcerers die, like, are they buried there? Is there a reason they're not? I always feel like it's like a cool aspect of JJK. And also Chainsaw Man has a similar thing where emotions are played into the power system, so it's kind of interesting to see if that ever played a part. We know jail cells attract curses, so I would imagine probably funerals and cemeteries do the same thing. Also, I know people were wondering if Gojo's gonna get like a whole funeral scene or something like that, which I understand, I get it. You know, popular character, arguably the most popular character, extremely powerful, very important to the series, but thinking about it, I don't really think we need it. I mean, he has never done it, so why would he all of a sudden do it now? And it's kind of weird that, honestly, he doesn't need something like that because, similar to Sukuna, Gojo's end was kind of shown that it was going to happen. It was slowly walked to us. Everybody knew that Gojo versus Sukuna was going to be Gojo's last fight. And even going into it, Gojo thought that he was going to die in that battle. So I think it's just, you know, it's more fitting seeing his last moments just be out there fighting the strongest sorcerer in history, rather than showing us with everyone crowded around Gojo's body giving him a funeral service. I feel like it really just depends on what the character is, because Gojo's character just doesn't seem like the type of guy that would want that. Another interaction is Maki with Daido and Mr. Sumo. She gives Daido a katana and they pretty much part ways. She tells him about curses becoming more world known and that it's a Tokyo phenomenon in Japan, and that there's a safe zone out there that you can go to just chill out and be away from them. Obviously, Daido with katana does not care about that. He just wants to slice things apart. Meanwhile, Sumo guy he just wants to sumo. I don't even think he cares about curses. Also, interesting tidbit is that the incarnated sorcerers, they have Yuji and Hana planning to go around and just use Jacob's ladder, and I guess Yuji's there to kind of hold them still to fix their bodies. Which I don't know, I'm kind of indifferent about it. I mean, this doesn't, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like this really hurts the stakes because, I mean, we don't even know who the other Culling Game players are, or were we supposed to, so I mean, it's kind of just a thing that happens. I don't know. Take that for how you will. Also, I like the playful little banter of Daido and Maki possibly clashing again because Daido did have a cold-ass moment, I will say that. He wasn't the coolest character, and even the Culling Games, he was still very random, but the lethality bar against Nalia, that shit was hard. We got Charles writing up his one-shot, which I'm assuming is just going to be his experiences in the Culling Games. I mean, based on what he saw, if he wrote this as one-shot, he better get in the manga industry. Side note, Gege really loves this fucking hairstyle, doesn't he? We got Rin apologizing to his bully victim that he tried to take advantage of, but this is when Yuji came in and beat the bullies up back in the day. So he got his slight, I guess, personal redemption of apologizing for it, but obviously the bully victim, he did not want to hear it. And then we got Higuruma, who I just talked about in the last chapter. I wanted to see if he was going to turn himself in, but he looks like he was going to, but they denied it. They weren't going to prosecute him. They're actually just going to use him as a sorcerer. So he's just going to be out here fighting and they're going to use him as like a tool, which is kind of fitting considering that's one of the themes in the series. Now let's talk about the big thing. Everybody thinks it's going to be a JJK part 2 because of two particular things that took place in this chapter. So, one of the main ones being is that the previously consumed Master Tengen was found among Sukuna's remains after he was torn apart from Megumi. And now Tengen's barrier is pretty much being upheld by like a placeholder. So, not necessarily Tengen itself, but it's like the remains of Tengen are just being able to hold it just enough. And Utahime and Nita said we should probably put some countermeasures or some contemporaries just in case, you know, something happens. And obviously, they alluded to, you know, the barrier possibly being broken, which the barrier being broken means that the curses will spread across the world. And Gakuganji just tells them that y'all are young. You shouldn't have to worry about this, at least yet. that was the main thing that had a lot of people guessing that part 2 is probably imminent. Which, I mean, I could see that being the case if you were to think that because of this panel. But Gege, if it's one thing that he likes to do with certain storylines, is he likes to leave things open-ended. You can be your own judge as to how things to play out or how this ended in your head. It's something that happens in a lot of anime that have like a ton of themes going on at one time. So it's always like that one case of where something is kind of open-ended to where you not really a clear ending, but it's good enough to just have you kind of theorizing. I do, however, like the concept of it though, of Tengen's barrier eventually being broken, and then you have curses kind of just spread all around, curse energy spread all around the world, potentially surpassing Japan. It will kind of lead to like a JJK finally breaking free from Japan and moving on and trying to help other countries. Although, you know, that kind of leads to like a whole different type of series and not what that would lead to. It's something that, you know, sounds cool, but you got to really think if Gege would want to do that. Because they were able to find a countermeasure for at least the Culling Game barrier and being able to take care of the other incarnated sorcerers. But the Tengen one is even grander and bigger because this one just covers everything. So, I mean, I would like to see something like that, but I don't know. I mean, you guys got to think, if he's taking this many breaks just doing this part, I highly doubt Gege's gonna want to do a whole worldwide JJK. And the other one being this whole conversation with Takaba and Kenjaku. Well, at least we think it's Kenjaku. Some people even theorize it could be Suguru. Which this conversation is just mainly them talking about comedy and going over their routine. But it's the fact that Gege blocks out Kenjaku's face, which we can tell that it's him because of the hair. But he blocks out the face with the speech bubble. So it kind of just makes you think like, is he alive? Is he like, what is this? Because Gege doesn't use black borders for flashbacks or like other scenarios are taking place. It's weird that he doesn't, but I guess he kind of just, that's just his style. My belief is that this is some sort of afterlife or like weird Sukuna talking to Jogo type moment, just because we know it can't be the same body because Yuta cut it, he ate Kenjaku's head. The only way he would be able to even get that body back would be like some crazy RCT feat of him regrowing an entire body, which I just don't see that being possible. So I believe this is more so just some weird like head dialogue between the two. I don't think it's anything too crazy to grasp at straws at, but it's in a weird way. I guess it kind of gives Kenjaku his conclusion in a sense, because I mean, we knew he was all for the comedy and just the out of pocket, out of this world technique that is Takaba's comedian. So I guess it kind of just works out that way with him being with the technique that kind of piqued his interest the most, I guess. I don't know, kind of hard to tell. Very similar to the Tengen one. I mean, it just kind of leaves you questioning, leaving things open-ended. We had a moment of Megumi and Hana, and pretty much Angel was just warning her that he might not be able to remember her because of the Sukuna thing happening, but he clearly remembered what Sukuna did, and he apologizes for having her be in that predicament. And he actually says he's going to be her right hand from now on, which obviously she mistakes and thinks he's about to marry her, which led to a whole thing. This is kind of funny because I've never seen a scene like this in JJK that I can even remember. You might have to go way back, but cheesy shonen love story type thing. I didn't expect that in the lasting chapters, but it's a calm down, it's a cool down to the end, so why the fuck not? Then we get an abrupt cut to a woman opening the door, entering the home, looks like a boyfriend, husband, whoever it is, ready to go out, turns on the lights, turns him around, and he has this crazy looking face, like pretty much a curse has taken over his body or face, whatever the case may be. And that is the mission task for the trio of Yuji, Megumi, and Nobar to go out and pretty much take care of this. But once the couple came back into the office, they looked like everything's all right. Maybe she was just seeing things. The guy's a professional wrestler, so shout out to Gege for acknowledging professional wrestling yet again. He be doing it subtly, but this time he actually shows some love to her, you know. By the way, we peeping Will Ospreay versus Ricochet in 2 weeks. They just pretty much dismissed this case because they think it's something that's wrong with the lady, and the bar just exits her out for a physical. But they actually think what they saw is the possible work of a Culling Game player that hasn't been taken care of. Look like it could be some type of cursed user harassment or just some type of illusion or just genjutsu of some sort that's play on both of them. So they're going to go and check it out. So we're doing one last mission on the last chapter. I'm sure we're actually probably not even going to see the last mission. It might be them leaving or something. I would love if we got like a couple extra pages. Apparently we're getting a color page for the end. Hopefully we can get like, you know, maybe 25 pages in total. So it looks like we are capping this thing off with one last mission. I don't know if we're going to get a huge cliffhanger or twist in the end for the last chapter. I just don't see it. I'm sorry. If you think it's going to be a part 2, Probably not gonna happen. You're probably gonna be disappointed because of your own expectations. But hey, such is life. Now, I could be completely wrong, which if I'm wrong and he actually ends up doing a part 2, hey, I'll take my L's, I'll take them shells. And apparently there's gonna be a big announcement coming for JJK. Now, anytime there's something about a big announcement and JJK being linked to it, 9 times out of 10, it ain't nothing to really be talking about. This could just be some type of promotion, or like season 3 is coming or something like that. So I don't think it's gonna be an actual part 2 manga. So leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed that. We got one more chapter left. Let's see how this thing is gonna cap off with 271 next week. Hopefully they can subvert my expectations with the big announcement actually being a big fucking announcement. But I'll let y'all in the next one. Peace.